A Valentine's Day audition in 1974 saved Annette O'Toole's career. 6 months earlier, she had walked away from Hollywood, traumatized and ready to quit forever. What happened in that producer's office was so disturbing, she didn't tell anyone for years. Now, at 72, the Virgin River star is finally opening up about the dark side of fame, the incident that nearly broke her, and the surprising reason she came back stronger than ever. Annette O'Toole was born on April 1st, 1952, in Houston, Texas. This was during a time when lots of babies were being born across the U.S., something people called the baby boom. Houston was growing fast, too. The city was booming because of oil and was becoming important for space exploration. By the time Annette was 9 years old, Houston became home to NASA's Space Center, giving it the nickname Space City. It was an exciting place to grow up, full of big changes and opportunities. Annette's journey into performing began when she was just 3 years old. Her mother, Dorothy, owned a dance studio, and Annette started taking lessons there. It wasn't just a hobby. She quickly became very serious about dancing. By 5, she was performing in recitals and competitions. The studio was always busy, teaching styles like ballet, tap, and jazz, and Annette spent nearly every day there. Her mother's passion for dance rubbed off on her, and Annette worked hard, learning discipline and focus. These early years gave her skills and confidence that would help her later in life. When Annette was 13, her mother made a bold decision. They moved to Los Angeles. The plan was to give Annette a chance to break into show business. Leaving Houston behind wasn't easy, but her mother believed in her talent. Los Angeles was a whole new world. It was bigger, busier, and full of challenges. Annette had to compete with many other talented kids for roles, but her years of dance training made her stand out. Soon after arriving, she began auditioning and landed small roles in TV shows. This was the start of her move from being a dancer to becoming an actress. Annette's first big break came quickly. She got a job dancing on the Danny Kaye Show at just 13 years old. This was a popular variety show with music, comedy, and dance performances. Being on the show was a huge deal for Annette. It gave her experience working with big stars and taught her a lot about performing. The show's host, Danny Kaye, was famous for his energy and talent, and Annette got to learn from him and the show's team. Annette O'Toole's journey into television began with a surprising twist when she made her acting debut at 18. It was September 17, 1970, and she appeared on the family sitcom My Three Sons. Before this, O'Toole had been focused on a career in dance. In fact, she had just been cast as a lead dancer in the musical Promises, directed by the renowned Michael Bennett. But everything changed when she chose to leave behind her Broadway dreams for television. This decision wasn't easy. She had to buy out her contract with the tough Broadway producer David Merrick, a risky move that could have hurt her stage career permanently. Yet, her choice paid off. Her brief appearance in My Three Sons caught the attention of Hollywood casting directors, opening doors to opportunities that would shape her career. After her debut, O'Toole's rise in television was swift. Between 1971 and 1975, she appeared in an incredible 27 different shows, averaging more than 5 roles a year. She was featured in some of the most iconic programs of the time. In February 1971, she guest starred on Gunsmoke, playing Etta Sprague in an episode called The Witness. This was her first grown-up role, acting alongside veteran actor Harry Morgan. At just 19, O'Toole later described this as her first real acting job, a memory that stayed with her even 50 years later. Just a few months after Gunsmoke, she appeared on The Partridge Family, playing a character named Carol, who got involved in a comedic misunderstanding with the show's teen heartthrob, Keith Partridge. That same year, she landed a role in Hawaii Five-0, portraying a troubled young woman caught up in a dangerous drug ring. She even performed a car chase stunt. Despite having no formal dramatic training, these roles showcased her versatility, proving she could handle comedy, drama, and action with ease. During this period, O'Toole worked tirelessly to improve her acting skills. She attended rigorous acting classes taught by Peggy Fury, a renowned coach whose students included big names like Sean Penn and Michelle Pfeiffer. O'Toole would spend her days on set and then head to night classes that lasted 4 hours. Often, she didn't return home until after midnight. Her intensity intense schedule allowed her to immediately apply what she learned in class to her performances. In one instance, she used a technique she'd practiced the night before to cry convincingly during a 1973 episode of Police Story. The director was so impressed that he asked her to tone it down, not realizing she was experimenting with her skills in real time. This blend of on-the-job learning and formal training helped her land her first leading role in the television movie, The Girl Most Likely To, which aired in 1973. In the film, she played a dual role as an ugly duckling who transforms into a beauty queen seeking revenge, a part that challenged her to showcase a wide emotional range. Annette O'Toole's journey into the world of film began in 1975 with her debut in Smile. She was just 23 years old when she got the role of Doria Houston, a smart and ambitious beauty pageant contestant. Over 300 actresses auditioned, but Annette stood out. She even did something wild during her audition. She acted like a dead cockroach, which impressed the director, Michael Ritchie. The movie was a sharp and funny look at small-town life and beauty pageants. Critics loved how Annette made her character feel real and funny. Smile came out in the summer of 1975, but it didn't make much money, earning just over $2 million. Even so, the movie later became a cult classic, and Annette's performance opened new doors for her in Hollywood. Her next big role came in One-on-One, 1977, a movie about a high school basketball player struggling to fit in at college. Annette played Janet Hayes, a tutor who helped the main character, played by Robbie Benson, handle school. Annette was only 25 at the time, but played a character 5 years older. She worked hard to prepare, even learning to play basketball by training for 3 months, 4 hours a day. Her effort showed. She even had basketball scenes in the movie. The chemistry between Annette and Robbie was fantastic, and audiences loved it. The movie made over $10 million, proving to be a big success. It also showed Hollywood that Annette could carry a major role and win over audiences. In 1978, Annette took on a darker role in King of the Gypsies. She played Sharon, the girlfriend of Eric Roberts' character, in a story about New York's Romani community. To prepare, Annette spent 2 months living with a Romani family in New Jersey. She learned about their culture and even their language, which helped her bring authenticity to the role. The movie was filmed in New York City and felt raw and real. Annette's scenes with Eric Roberts were often improvised, adding even more intensity to their relationship. While the film didn't make a lot of money, critics praised Annette's performance, calling her a standout in the cast. This role proved she wasn't afraid to take risks and try something new. By the early 1980s, Annette was doing both movies and TV, something that wasn't common at the time. Between 1980 and 1983, she appeared in 5 movies and 7 TV productions, showing just how hard she was working. This period was incredibly busy for Annette. She worked long hours, sometimes without much rest. Annette O'Toole's journey to becoming Lana Lang in Superman 3 was anything but ordinary. She had once auditioned for Lois Lane in the first Superman movie back in 1978, but didn't get the role. Years later, in December 1982, the unexpected happened. The actress originally cast as Lana Lang dropped out just weeks before filming started. In only 48 hours, Annette was called, tested, and offered the part. She had to transform herself for the role, dyeing her red hair chestnut brown and wearing green contact lenses to match the character. The change was so dramatic that when she arrived on set, Christopher Reeve didn't even recognize her. Annette threw herself into the role, even doing most of her own stunts. One of these stunts was especially dangerous. She had to hang from a helicopter 120 feet in the air. It took 17 takes to get it right, leaving her with painful rope burns that took weeks to heal. But her hard work paid off. While the movie got mixed reviews, Annette's performance as Lana was loved by fans. After the movie's release in 1983, her fan mail skyrocketed by over 700%. But there was a downside. People started to see her as the girl next door, and she was offered similar roles, again and again. Determined not to be stuck in one type of character, Annette turned down 14 such roles in less than 2 years. It was a bold move, but it helped her avoid being typecast. In 1986, she was preparing to play Lana Lang again for a planned Supergirl sequel. She spent 3 months training in martial arts, ready to take on the role. Then, out of nowhere, the project was cancelled because the production company ran out of money. It was a big disappointment, but Annette moved forward. Her career after Superman 3 took some surprising turns. In 1985, she starred in the TV movie Copacabana with Barry Manilow. Even though she had never sung professionally before, she performed 11 musical numbers thanks to 3 months of intense vocal training. Then, in 1987, she starred in the romantic comedy Cross My Heart with Martin Short. The movie was filmed in chronological order, which is rare in movies. One long dinner scene had to be filmed in a single 72-minute take, which took 3 days to perfect. During filming, Annette got laryngitis, and a prank by Martin Short involving a live chicken left her scared of birds for a while. Annette O'Toole's television career is full of standout moments that show her incredible talent and dedication. In 1981, she took on a major challenge by playing Tammy Wynette in Stand By Your Man, a CBS biopic about the country music star. At just 29 years old, Annette had to portray Wynette over almost 20 years of her life. Instead of lip-syncing, she chose to do all her own singing, which was a risky move, but ended up being one of the film's highlights. She spent months working with a vocal coach to match Wynette's voice and style, learning to play the guitar, and watching hours of footage to perfect every detail of the singer's stage presence. Annette even gained weight and wore custom contact lenses to look more like Wynette. The movie didn't hold back on showing the tougher parts of Wynette's life, like her troubled marriage to George Jones and her battle with prescription drugs. Annette's emotional performance made a huge impact, and the film was watched by an incredible 23 million people on its premiere night. 9 years later, in 1990, Annette played another famous figure, Rose Kennedy, in the ABC miniseries The Kennedys of Massachusetts. This was a huge role, as she had to show Rose at every stage of her life, from a young woman to an elderly matriarch. To make it believable, Annette spent hours every day in makeup to look older and worked with a coach to perfect Rose's Boston accent. She also studied footage of Rose to capture her mannerisms. Her performance was especially powerful in scenes showing Rose's reaction to family tragedies, like the lobotomy of her daughter, Rosemary. These moments left a lasting impression on viewers and sparked conversations about the Kennedy family's private struggles. The series was a big success, drawing millions of viewers, and Annette earned an Emmy nomination for her role, proving she could take on deeply complex characters. That same year, Annette became part of one of TV's most iconic adaptations, Stephen King's It. She played Beverly Marsh, the only female member of the Losers Club. The two-part event was a massive hit, with the first night alone drawing 30 million viewers. Annette brought real depth to Beverly, showing how her character struggled with trauma from her childhood. In one of the most memorable scenes, Beverly is drenched in blood in her bathroom, a moment Annette insisted on filming with real pig's blood. This meant hours of uncomfortable shooting, but the result was unforgettable. The atmosphere on set was intense too, as Tim Curry, playing the terrifying Pennywise, stayed in character between takes, keeping everyone on edge. Annette's performance helped make it one of the most memorable TV movies of its time. In 1996, Annette joined Nash Bridges, playing Lisa Bridges, the ex-wife of Don Johnson's character. Her role was supposed to be small, but her chemistry with Johnson and the way she portrayed Lisa's complex relationship with her ex-husband made her a fan favorite. Annette's scenes often added heart to the show, as Lisa and Nash tried to co-parent their daughter while dealing with their own history. After 2 seasons, Annette decided to leave the series, wanting to focus on other projects. Her final episode included an emotional goodbye between her and Johnson, which they improvised to make it feel real. Fans were sad to see her go, but her time on the show was another example of how she could bring warmth and depth to any role. Annette O'Toole's journey with Smallville began by chance. In 2001, the show's producers decided to replace the actress playing Martha Kent after the pilot episode. They reached out to O'Toole, who had played Lana Lang in Superman 3. At first, she wasn't sure about taking the role, She thought her time in the Superman world was over, but when she watched the pilot, she loved how the story was told. It felt new and exciting, and she decided to say yes. O'Toole's version of Martha Kent was different from what people expected. Martha wasn't an elderly woman anymore. Instead, she was a warm, strong mother raising teenage Clark Kent. Her chemistry with John Schneider, Jonathan Kent, and Tom Welling, Clark, felt real. Together, they made the Kent family the heart of the show. Fans loved her performance, and Smallville became an instant hit. Over 8 million people watched the premiere. The show brought O'Toole back into the spotlight, and she even got nominated for an award. Fans often told her how much the show meant to them. One moment stayed with her. A fan hugged her and said the show was the only thing their family could watch together during hard times. Moments like that made O'Toole feel proud of her work. She also got to act alongside her husband, Michael McKean, who played Perry White in one episode. Working together brought them closer and even led to new projects, like writing a song that was nominated for an Oscar. But being on Smallville wasn't always easy. Filming happened in Vancouver, far from her home in Los Angeles. For 6 years, she flew back and forth constantly, sometimes 22 times a season. She worked long days on set, then rushed to catch late-night flights. It was exhausting. By the later seasons, she felt worn out. On top of that, her character's role in the story started shrinking. Clark's journey became the focus, and Martha's scenes felt repetitive to her. She wanted more, but the scripts didn't give her much to work with. By 2007, she knew it was time to move on. She had finished her 6-year contract and didn't want to renew it. Leaving wasn't easy. On her last day of filming, she broke down in tears. Her co-star, Tom Welling, hugged her and told her, "You did it. You're free." It was a bittersweet moment. She was sad to leave, but ready for something new. Even after she left, O'Toole returned for a few guest appearances in the show's final seasons. Her last scene as Martha Kent was in the series finale in 2011. It was a perfect way to end her journey with Smallville. After her 6 years as Martha Kent on Smallville, Annette O'Toole decided it was time for a change. She left television in 2011 and turned to theater, where she could take on roles that were more personal and challenging. Her very first audition after leaving TV led to a surprising opportunity. She was cast in The Seagull by Anton Chekhov. The play opened in 2013 at the Classic Stage Company in New York, and Annette played Polina Andreevna, a deep and emotional role. It was a big change from her days on TV, but it showed just how versatile she could be as an actress. From there, she kept exploring the stage with even more intense roles. In 2014, she starred in a play called Kindness by Adam Rapp. This story took place in post-9/11 New York and followed a mother struggling to care for her sick son. Critics loved her raw and honest performance, saying she brought real emotion to the role. Then, in 2015, Annette stepped into another powerful role in Man from Nebraska by Tracy Letts. The play was about a man questioning his faith, and she played his wife, a character filled with quiet strength. Her performance was so good that she was nominated for a Drama Desk Award. Every role she took in the theater let her show a new side of her talent. But it wasn't until 2016 that Annette tackled one of the most challenging roles of her career. She played Robert Eads, a transgender man, in the musical Southern Comfort. The story was based on real events and followed a group of transgender friends in Georgia, with Annette's character battling ovarian cancer. To prepare for the role, she trained to lower her voice and adopt masculine movements. Her performance was breathtaking. Critics called it revelatory and full of empathy, and she won a Lucille Lortel Award for her work. It was a role that left a lasting impact on both Annette and the audience. In 2019, Annette returned to television with Virgin River, a Netflix drama where she plays Hope McCrea, the lively and opinionated mayor of a small town. Fans quickly fell in love with her character, and Annette's performance brought both humor and heart to the series. When Hope's storyline included recovering from a brain injury in Season 4, Annette went the extra mile to make it realistic. She researched traumatic brain injuries and consulted medical experts to ensure she portrayed it accurately. The result was a touching performance that added emotional depth to the show. Annette O'Toole's life in Hollywood hasn't been easy, but it's full of surprising and inspiring moments. In 1973, when she was only 21, something happened that nearly ended her acting career. She went to what she thought was a regular audition for a big studio movie. Instead, she found herself alone with a powerful producer who made her feel unsafe. At first, he gave her compliments, but soon it turned into unwanted touching and inappropriate behavior. Annette managed to get away, but the experience left her scared and unsure about continuing in the industry. After that day, Annette stepped back from acting completely. For 6 months, she didn't take any auditions and even thought about quitting Hollywood forever. It was a tough time for her. She talked to friends, leaned on her boyfriend, actor Bruno Kirby, and went to therapy to deal with what had happened. Then, a mentor came into her life. Shirley MacLaine, a veteran actress who had faced similar challenges in her career. Shirley encouraged Annette not to give up. With her support, Annette decided to try acting again. On Valentine's Day in 1974, she auditioned for a small role in the TV show Police Woman and got it. That marked her return to acting and a fresh start. This experience changed Annette forever. She wanted to make Hollywood a safer place for others, especially young actresses. In 1978, she helped create a program called Women in Film, which mentors women in the entertainment industry. Over the years, it supported thousands of women, giving them the tools to succeed in a tough business. Annette O'Toole and Michael McKean have a love story that feels like it was written for the movies. They first met in the 1970s when Annette guest starred on Laverne and Shirley, where Michael was a regular. But their meeting was brief, and nothing came of it at the time. Life carried on. Decades later, in 1997, they met again on the set of the movie Final Justice. By then, both of them had gone through divorces and were at very different points in their lives. Annette was living in Oregon, while Michael was in another relationship. Even so, they became friends and stayed in touch through email. A simple connection that slowly turned into something much deeper. Their first date was unforgettable. On September 20th, 1997, they went to a concert at UCLA featuring Bob Dylan, Joni Mitchell, and Van Morrison. That night, Annette felt something special. She later said she knew she wanted to marry Michael from that very moment. 2 years later, on March 20th, 1999, they tied the knot in an intimate ceremony that brought their families together. Annette had 2 daughters from her previous marriage, and Michael had 2 sons from his. Their marriage wasn't just about the 2 of them, it was about creating a loving, blended family. Over the years, they've shared much more than just a home. On September 11th, 2001, she was stuck in Vancouver with her husband because of the tragic events of that day. As they drove back to Los Angeles, Annette couldn't stop humming a melody that had been in her head. She shared it with Michael, and together they started writing a song. That little melody became A Kiss at the End of the Rainbow, a song for the 2003 mockumentary A Mighty Wind. The couple spent weeks working on the song in their home, and when it was finally finished, it became a key moment in the movie. It was performed by the fictional folk duo Mitch and Mickey, played by Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara, and it struck a chord with audiences for its sweet, nostalgic feeling. In 2004, Annette and Michael were shocked to learn that their song was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Original Song. Even though they didn't win, the nomination was a huge honor. It also marked a new chapter for Annette as she and Michael continued writing music together. Both Annette and Michael are talented musicians, and in 2005, they toured together, performing songs they'd written. It wasn't just about music, though. They've worked together on screen, too. They played Topanga's parents on Boy Meets World and appeared together on Smallville, where Annette had a long-running role as Martha Kent. Their projects gave them opportunities to share their real-life chemistry with audiences. Despite their busy careers, they've always found ways to balance work and family. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Annette faced a unique challenge while filming Virgin River. She couldn't travel to Vancouver because she was taking care of her 94-year-old mother. Instead of stepping away from the show, she got creative. With help from her daughter Anna, who works in film production, she filmed her scenes at home using just an iPhone. This solution allowed her to continue working while staying close to her family. Michael, as always, was fully supportive, just as Annette has supported his work, including his standout role in Better Call Saul. What really makes their relationship work is how much they genuinely enjoy each other's company. Annette has said, "We really like spending time together, and it shows in everything they do. Whether they're writing songs, acting together, or working on a new musical like Harold and Lillian, they've found ways to blend their personal and professional lives seamlessly. Even when work keeps them apart, they stay connected. One of their favorite traditions is reading to each other every night, no matter where they are. It's a small but meaningful way they keep their bond strong." Humor also plays a big role in their marriage. Michael once joked, "And they said it wouldn't last," before laughing and adding, "But nobody said that." They were like, "Of course, duh." Their ability to laugh together, support each other, and face challenges as a team has helped them stay grounded in a tough industry like Hollywood. Their home in Los Angeles is a reflection of their creative, joyful life. Michael described their living room as a mini ballroom where they sing, dance, and make music together. Their life is full of love, laughter, and creativity, everything that keeps their relationship thriving after more than 25 years.